All right, guys, welcome back to Beautiful Mind today. Today, we're going to break from tradition a little bit, and we're not going to be discussing Bitcoin. This is the square of nine. It's a master chart that Mr. Gann made back in the day, and I've populated it with different markings and colors. And we're going to talk about this really quickly on how you can relate your own life to this. Excuse me. So this chart here is a square of nine, and as you know, a square of nine goes out, and all the odd numbers in squares of numbers go here, and all the even squares of numbers are 180 degrees opposite. Excuse me. So what are we talking about? Well, right here in 1878, June 6, William Gann was born. And what I wanted to point out was on the opposite side of this square in 1955, Mr. Gann passed. So, what's interesting about that? Well, on the opposite side of the square is where he succumbed to, or where we find out that the Bible states that our life is three scores and half a score. So, one score is 20 years. So, that equals 70 years. We'll talk about the other colors that are populated on the chart, but first I wanted to just discuss with you how we could use this chart to make determinations in our own life and find out more about ourselves. So I've put on here my life on here, not every bit of it, but I've also put on here my death, and I believe it'll be right here at 73. We'll talk about that in a second. So, first, let's take a look at why I have a wonderful gift, I believe, from the Lord with Mr. Gann. So, I'm going to take this string here and we're going to pop this right on Mr. Gann's birth, and we're going to put this right across, right directly through the one in the center of this square, and it lines directly up with my birth at 1967 right here. And I want to also point out that 12 years after Mr. Gann passed, or one Jupiter cycle, I was born. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I just thought I'd point that out. So from there, I numbered my life all the way around in years. And I don't know whether or not I'll make it to 77 so much. And we'll discuss that why. I think I might make it to about 73 just before transhumanism comes in and they put a microchip in everyone's head. So, looking at that, I put the string across here and it lines up here pretty good. I don't want to be hooked up to a computer and controlled by the government or the WEF or whoever. Anyhow, I thought I'd just point that out why I feel 73 is my potential passing. Now, if you read or document anything about what Mr. Gann says, Mr. Gann always states that the 42nd day, week, month, year always represents the beginning of the death zone. And that death zone begins at 42 and it goes and extends to 49. 49 days, weeks, months, or years. So when we pass through these areas, things can happen in our life. So in my life, for instance, let's just talk about some things here. When I was 13, I had worked for 3 years and I bought my first dirt bike representing freedom. And it was really amazing. It was really awesome. 17, right here. I forget why I colored that one in. I'd have to look back on that one. That was 1984. I'm not sure what happened to me there. I don't know. However, moving forward from that, my first, that's where I met my, that's right, that's where I met my wife and had my two kids with at 25 and 27. And then, of course, I divorced my wife um, 3 years after, or that would have been in the 27th and 28th square, where I married her and divorced her thereafter. So you can see that on the square, on these points, these things occur. This is much the same as Mr. Gann as well, but we'll talk about that in 1 second. So finishing this off, I feel that it's likely and possible that I pass here. When I was 51, my father passed. And when I take the string here and I run it through his date, we can't just quite see it because the camera won't allow that. But if I run it directly through the one in the center, my father passed in 2018, and it's exactly 180 degrees. So it's a quite powerful tool, and sometimes it can be a little frightening. And this is why I don't do astrology for people's lives. I'm just giving you a quick little excerpt of how powerful this tool can be for forecasting things, not just commodities and stocks and whatnot. Anyways, I thought I'd just kind of share that with you. I've also populated some of the very largest volcanic eruptions in green that took place many hundreds of years ago. Not all of them up to date, but I was just looking and studying the past a bit. The pink is all the war cycles, and I've lined them all up, and you can see some of them here. 1776 ended right at 1949 when we ended the Second World War. So, really important. There's a lot of really cool and amazing things that you can do with this chart, with your life, and with history. And so I did my mom, when she was 22, she had my sister. When my mom was 35, she had me. So my sister and I are in opposite sides of the square, 12 years apart. My sister was born the year Mr. Gann died. It was really interesting, kind of. Anyways, there's a lot more stuff I can go on about, but I thought I'd just kind of keep this short and show you a few things. Again, just looking at the top of this chart now, Mr. Gann married his first wife, Rena Mae Smith, here. They had their first two children here. Then Mr. Gann divorced Rena Mae Smith and married Sadie, his second wife, who was 19 years old. They had a child the next year in 1909. Then they had their second child in 1915. And I didn't put all the rest of the things that Mr. Gann was doing. There were so many things, it would have just populated almost every single year. But anyways, I felt that it was important to have a look at some of these things. And yeah, that way you can kind of grasp and identify with how something like this would work. in life. So anyways, peace and love to y'all. I hope you enjoyed that. Go ahead and draw up a square of 9 and plot on that your life when you graduated, when you had kids, got married, your family did things, you moved. You'll find a lot of really incredible things. Anyways, peace and love, guys.